All right, welcome back to another episode of Real Talk, Michigan Edition. Jeff here. Dan, what's going on, dude?
Want to know in fantasy, baby. What's up?
Yeah. Monday morning tears, flaunting my stuff this week. I had a great week, beating down Tyler. You know what I do best. So yeah, it was a good week. Michigan got the dub. I went 2-3 in fantasy, or 2-1 in fantasy. Patriots played really good, made me pretty optimistic about what I'm going to see from them this year. I feel I had a pretty good football weekend. So, all around pretty encouraging stuff. What about you? How'd you have a good weekend?
Yeah. The Raiders pulled out a weird game versus the Broncos. Michigan obviously won, and I'm in three fantasy leagues, and the other two I got killed. But in Monday morning tears, it's the only one that really matters to me. And I was sweating it out going into that game last night. Josh Allen got me barely enough to win, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I in one of my three leagues, the Dynasty League that I started this year, I didn't personally start it. I'm in a league that got started. Mm-hmm. And I went up against Aaron Rodgers. I think I was down 3 points. He had Rodgers. I had Conklin and Lazard. And Rodgers got 0, and Lazard and Conklin combined for 6. So I won by 3 points. kind of a shitty outing, but I'll take the W. That's all that matters. So here we are. Michigan moves to 2-0. They beat UNLV. Nothing shocking here. Really good outing from the team. They don't cover the spread if that's something you care about, but the same guys as last week. Roman Wilson, Blake Corum continue to dominate, scoring the touchdowns. They seem to be the two biggest offensive players. I think a lot of people probably thought Donovan Edwards would fall into that category this year, but it's really been J.J. McCarthy, then pretty much I'd probably say Roman and then Blake, honestly, just from where the production's been. Blake's been great. Initial points on just the offense, the 35-7. Take it away.
Yeah, excuse me. Same guys from last week, but yeah, J.J. McCarthy is looked really good, man. I know it's against two lesser type opponents, but command of the offense is there. The gunslinger arm talent is showing out. Putting the ball in some tight windows, and just has taken care of the ball last year. Was still kind of getting over that 2021 hump of making a few questionable decisions, but again, so far so good. A lot can change from now till Big Ten play, but we got to judge off what we see on the field, and so far it's been good positive vibes. And they finally filled the sack column on the chart. The 5 total team sacks, and Chris Jenkins, Jalen Harrell, Kenneth Grant, Mason Graham, they all got in there and contributed, and they really beat up on the UNLV guys. And then they went 7-12 on third down, which was pretty cool. The only thing that was kind of like a damn type of moment was when they tried to go for it on fourth down and couldn't convert. Other than that, I got no qualms about the offense.
Yeah, I think JJ has just continued to take leaps that we expected unfairly, probably his freshman year. Looking back, I think I was probably a little too critical of him. Actually, to be fair, I wasn't really that critical of him. I was critical of Harbaugh and the spots that he was putting him in, but still, right. I was probably a little critical of him. And then last year, as soon as he took the job, I was kind of like in his corner, but I didn't know exactly what we'd be getting. I'm not going to toot our horn. It's Eastern Carolina and UNLV, but he's looked incredible. Like zero complaints. I don't have a single one. So I believe this is the second straight game he hasn't been sacked. He's completing well over 86% of his passes, and he's got 5 total touchdowns through 2 games, which actually brings me to the question. We haven't really talked about it. I don't think we really got to do much predicting as far as like long-term. I believe it's 25, right? Is the single season passing touchdown record? We've been through this half a dozen times, I feel like.
Right. Never
Isn't it 25?
I believe it's 25. John Navarre, yeah.
That's got to get beat this year, right?
You would think so. It's not a lot, but
It's not. It's really not.
It's just the type of team that Michigan's always been, is run first. But I think it's very doable. And this year with them being more balanced, he's going to be throwing the ball more. He already has. I mean, if you were to tell me in the beginning of the season, oh, he's going to throw it 30 times in week 1 and 25 the following week, I'm like, you're out of your damn mind. But he has. And I don't know what he's on pace for right now, but you think that 28, 29 is fairly doable.
I know you were pretty reserved in the preseason when asked about what this offense would look like. You were like, yeah, I think it's just going to be the same old run team that we've been seeing. What are your opinions through 2 games? They're trying so hard to be 50-50.
I mean, I like it. I've said it before. I don't care if they run a triple option as long as they win. But in order for us to get to the next level and win the national championship and knock off Georgia or whoever's going to be there at the end, they have to be balanced. I mean, you can be successful running the ball a million times, but when you get up to the upper echelon, you're going to run into a roadblock eventually. Like, when you talk about Georgia's defense being a 1 of 1 in 2021 all the time here, but just because Michigan got stopped at that game doesn't mean Michigan's run game was bad. It's just they weren't complete overall, and that's just what happens when you run into a caliber that high. But as of right now, man, if JJ McCarthy can play at a high level like this the whole season, why can't they be favored to win the national championship? That's what's held Michigan back for the last 2 years has been the kind of the quarterback play. Now he got his first start last year and made some mistakes, but again, I'm not going to hang that over his head now.
Yeah, I think if there's one thing that's concerning about this team, and I don't know that it's concerning, but it is kind of head scratching to say the least. Donovan Edwards currently this past week, he had 11 touches for 35 yards.
6 carries for 9 yards too.
That's what I'm saying. So total between the his catching and rush, like
Correct.
what are we getting? Like, is this an injury? Is this a bottle up? Is this play design? Is this just like, what is going on here?
I don't know what's going on, and especially in the first half, him and Blake are behind the same offensive line. Now, I kind of made a comment about that on my show last night. It looks like Donovan, I don't know if he's got a leg issue he's recovering from or what. We all know last year was basically the cast on his hand that doesn't prohibit you from running. But like, he doesn't seem decisive when he hits the hole, and this is just my Monday morning quarterback, analysis, but looks hesitant, doesn't break a tackle. He goes down way too easy, and I just don't see a burst there. Now, with Blake Corum, granted, the offensive line's been great last 2 years, especially last year when Blake Corum was the main carry, but he makes them look good at times because he can break 1 or 2 tackles. And like, there was a play this past weekend against Unlv where he meets the nose guard like right when he receives the ball, but he spins off of him. Like, if that was Donovan Edwards, he's getting supplanted right there. And so I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know if it's just his run style, what's going on, but like, you look at the Purdue game, you look at the Ohio State game, and even look at the TCU game, he's making dudes miss on 1 jump cut, and it's just not happening this time around. I'm not sure what's going on, but he is really, really easy to get taken down.
Yeah, it almost feels like he doesn't have any burst, which I know that's not true.
Right.
I mean, it's just so head scratching. That's why I said it's not concerning, because I don't think there's anything wrong with him, but it is very weird. Like, you're too dynamic, too explosive, too much of a playmaker. There's too much evidence. I mean, hell, ask Ohio State, troll. There's too much evidence of him being dominant for him to just be like, literally a non-factor. At this point, I'm not saying bench him, but it's gotten to a point where it's like, if this was against a really good team, you'd be like, we can't put you out there anymore. You know what I mean? There's something weird. You'd think that would not you watch as soon as they play a halfway decent team. Nebraska here in a couple weeks, their defense, watch them break a long one or something. I could see that. So yeah, let's get into likes, dislikes, more of. What'd you like?
Kind of touched on it already. JJ, the sack numbers coming in bunches this time around. Blake Corum under 100 yards, but he's averaging 7.3 last week, 5.3 this week. Tyler Morris kind of made a little blip on the radar. And then Roman Wilson's already scored more touchdowns than he did last year. He's got 5 this year. He had 4 all of last year. And he is, again, we're only judging off what we see so far. I know it's ECU, UNLV, but, I mean, Roman Wilson is well-deserving of the 1 jersey so far.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been like a massive like, oh, he's wearing the 1 type deal. I mean, literally, Angel Anthony wore the 1 for 3 years and wasn't good. So
yeah,
it's not, or 2 years. It's never been like a.
The meaning has lost its luster after Lloyd Carr. You know.
Yeah. I agree.
That was more of a traditional thing from the Lloyd Carr coaching tree, and previously, obviously, you always had the left tackle number 77. The best receiver on your team is number 1. But yeah, it kind of after Lloyd Carr, it just stopped because first of all, Rich Rodriguez didn't give a shit, so it changed ever since then.
And Brady Hoke let the long receiver wear it. He put it on Devin Funchess instead of Jeremy Gallen. So
yeah.
I mean, that was half the problem too. Yeah, so I think ultimately, we've watched enough Michigan games together. We've been doing this pod long enough together. A lot of the things that you say, I'm going to say, I say, you're going to say, we mimic a lot. The 2 things I wrote down, maybe a little different. JJ's Heisman campaign, that's what this feels like to me. I just feel like Jim Harbaugh realized, he kind of hinted to this the other day. He said, we want to have the best quarterback on the best team. What does that mean? That literally means we want the Heisman Trophy winner. You know what I mean? Think about it. The last best quarterback on the best team has won the Heisman 8 out of the last 12 seasons. Something crazy, right? So that's what he kind of said in no plain terms. So I love that, just how he's looked, how he's progressed, the strides we've seen. And then I also wrote down sack party. Week 1, they get 0. This week, they had 5 in the first half. Everyone's getting a sack. You get a sack. You get a sack. You get a sack. I mean, that's what it was. Dislikes, I'll take this away. I'm pulling strings here, okay? Because you're playing bad football teams. You're not doing too much wrong. Where the H is Alex Orji. I know there was per Harbaugh, there was some confusion that Mike was supposed to play Alex Orji, but okay, you didn't say anything after week 1. So it's been 2 weeks now. We haven't seen Alex Orji. And, I said this after the first game, you called him the greatest punt returner, kick returner, whatever in the history of the world. And we've still yet to see him. And he doesn't take even 3rd string quarterback snaps. Something's off here. And then my second one, come on, these are bad football teams. Can you just cover a spread? Just entertain us. Throw the ball a little bit more aggressively, run the ball a little more aggressively. Put your second stringers, that's fine, but still be aggressive. Let's cover a damn spread. These aren't crazy spreads.
Right.
What do you got?
I mean, we kind of hit the Donovan Edwards is disappointing, something I'm not liking. The offensive line, again, nitpicking here, still has to get more consistent. They did improve from week 1, in my opinion. I didn't like. See, it's so hard, like to really go off here, but I mean, really, it's just the Donovan Edwards thing and the Alex Orji thing. Apparently, I don't know about him, but Jane Denegal was supposed to get more playing time this last weekend, and instead Mike Hart put in Tuttle first, and He mixed it around from what Jim Harbaugh wanted. So this weekend we're supposed to see Orgy and Donegal. I don't know. We'll get cross that bridge when we get there. But in terms of dislike, that's all I really have, to be honest. But I feel like we do need to be beating these teams a little bit more, and I thought that with UNLV they would have. But yeah, that's really what I got.
Is it weird that I didn't know who Jaden Donegal was?
No, he's been on the team for a couple of years, but he's so far down the depth chart,
Yeah, he is a mammoth though. He's 6'5", 230.
Yeah,
that's a big boy. Yeah, he had one pass for 35 yards connected, so that's kind of good. But yeah, I just thought at this point I would have at least known this name. But when he came in on Saturday, I'm like, oh, that's new. And I thought it was weird because I expected Orgy in that spot. Or it wouldn't have shocked me if it was JJ, Tuttle/Warren, then the other one, then Alex. But you see Tuttle gets hurt, Warren comes in, and then it's Senegal. I was like, okay, that's weird. But more of, I'll take this away. Donovan Edwards. We not more of as in like more of this trash, more of in like we need to see the Donovan Edwards that we know of. And I've just gotten to the point where I kind of miss Jim Harbaugh. I've been listening to the I'm drawing a blank. It's podcast weekly, basically the Michigan radio show. Oh, John Jansen. Gosh. So John Jansen hosts the Michigan radio show every week with Jim Harbaugh. And we've said this for so long, but like Jim Harbaugh is such a good freaking dude. Like, listen to him talk on this week. I think he almost went 30 minutes, and they barely talked Michigan football. They talked about him being the chain gang for his son's football game, him forgetting the Gatorade for his son's football game, and having to send his wife to go get Gatorades and snacks, and basically him talking about how, back in his day, they barely got water, let alone snack. Just like listen to him be in dad mode was really cool. He talked about his dad's connection with Bowling Green State University. He even sang the fight song on the radio, and he was so passionate about it, and just like growing up around that area and passing the stadium as a kid. And gosh, what else did he talk about? Just like so many things that weren't related to the Michigan football team. And I just literally thought to myself, like, yeah, we need this guy back. It's time. And I don't even want to get deep into this, but there are other coaches in the Big Ten that are doing things allegedly way worse. So it's just like our suspension feels so laughable at this point. Like, can we just move on? Like, it's laughable. But I'm ready for week 4 when we play Nebraska and he's back on this, or Rutgers, or I don't even remember. Yeah, it's Nebraska, right? Week 4. Yeah, it is Rutgers. Okay, so it's Rutgers and then Nebraska.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'm just ready for some Big Ten football. Harbaugh to be back on the sideline and us to be clicking again. What do you got more of?
Well, to touch it real quick before I do that, though, to touch on the whole change, like his little, Father's Day type weekend, whatever. It was like over the winter time, maybe it was late fall, but he was on like Detroit local news, whatever, and he was on a police body cam. Jim Harbaugh was, because there was a bad storm and a tree had fallen across the street, and so the cop comes up to him, and Jim's just like in a sweatshirt and sweatpants, gray sweatpants, middle of the night, and he didn't like, hey, I'm Jim Harbaugh, the head coach of Michigan, over, and he's like, hey, I'm Jim. He's like, you want a hand? So then he helps the police officer move the tree across the street. I just thought that was cool. Like, he could have made it, about himself, but he's not that type of guy anyway. But he's just a run-of-the-mill average guy out there, just being a good Samaritan. So yeah, that was pretty funny and cool as well. But for more of just a young freshman to get in, I mentioned on my show that I really want to see like Cameron Calhoun and Jair Hill, the freshman corners, to make a play on a ball when they have a shot and opportunity to do so, and maybe get a pick, force a fumble, do something to have people remember their names. And then even on offense, the skill position players, like talking about Jane Denegal, he threw a 35-yard pass, and it was to the freshman wide receiver, Samaj Morgan. So I'd like to see those guys get involved.
Yeah. I think that pretty much does it for UNLV. Anything else?
Negative.
Yeah. Let's talk a little week 1 recap here.
Week 2.
Sorry. Thank you. Week
You're
2.
You're in NFL mode right now.
Dude, I'm totally in NFL mode. Yeah, week 2. Technically week 3 because week 0, whatever the crap that is. No, but for real, we're in week 2 mode here. Colorado. I know you were reserved. I was telling you I thought they'd beat the brakes off Nebraska. Though the score looked bad, I thought the game was really close. Where are you at on Colorado? It's got to be the most talked about team. I feel like we have to talk about it here.
Yeah, they've moved the meter in my opinion. Again, I'm not ready to go full, D-ride mode, but Nebraska has a good defense. The score doesn't indicate how close it was because the Huskers' offense is atrocious. Their quarterback, I kind of felt bad for him, Jeff Sims, because he's just getting grilled on the halftime show, and
But he won't stop turning the ball over through 2 weeks.
I know. I know. I feel bad, because being a teenage kid at that point, it's like everyone's got your head on a chopping block. I granted, if this was Michigan, I'd be in that same boat, being critical. But the defense couldn't get off the field, and after a while, Colorado was going to start pulling away. Colorado shot themselves in the foot numerous times. Shedeur Sanders didn't look great for a while there either. They were doing penalties and self-afflicting wounds, and so it was just back and forth because neither team really could initiate the kill shot. And then Jeff Sims, he does break a long run down the sideline to kind of make up for something. But, at that point, the defense was just absolutely exhausted, and Travis Hunter was just in X Factor mode at that point. So Nebraska it sucks because, I don't want to say it sucks, but, as for them, it does because, they have a decent team, but their quarterback play is dragging them down.
Do you know who Nebraska's backup is?
I know. I have no idea.
Brock Purdy's little brother.
Is it really? Oh, you know what?
It is.
I heard that in the broadcast.
Yes, it is Brock Purdy's little brother. Put that sucker in, dude. I'm all for the Purdy brothers. Just a quick second here. I want your take on this. It just came back to me. This is no secret. I talk about this quite often. I'm a big fan of Bussin' with the Boys. Okay. And the dynamic on that show is Taylor Lewan, Michigan, Will Compton, Nebraska, and they have some guys in the back of the bus, as they call it. And the head of their social media / I think he's kind of even a producer. His name's Jack. I like Jack a lot. He's super funny. He's a Tennessee guy. And he was coming at Taylor last week, okay, saying that Michigan does not play anybody with a pulse, okay, and that if Tennessee played Michigan today, they would win. And I'm curious as to your opinion. Michigan beat UNLV 35-7. UNLV is 1-1 on the year, okay? And Tennessee beat Austin Peay, who's 0-2 on the year, 30-13. This podcast started in 2020. Joe Milton was the quarterback. You know how I feel about Joe Milton. I liked him. I want him to succeed. I still want him to succeed. We'd kick the shit out of Tennessee, wouldn't we?
I sure as hell hope so. And Tennessee's played 2 teams that are 0-2 now. So then they play at Florida. That's a conference game. And then they have UTSA. They play Texas San Antonio at home, the 4th game. And then they play that special SEC game, non-conference in November against UConn. Nobody with a pulse personified right here. I'm so tired of, the Big Ten don't play anybody. I'm like, the SEC conveniently has that November game that means absolutely nothing. So treat it like a bye week, barely have to show up and play. So that is lazy take. And I mean, I don't really listen to Bustin' with the Boys, but this Jack dude can shove it.
Yeah, and Jack's a cool dude. I like him a lot. But, like, the way he was talking, like, come on, dude. Like, I just found it comical that you're playing Austin Peavy and you're talking trash that we're playing another bad team. And who did you say played week 1? Who did you say they played?
Virginia, and they're 0-2.
Like, what?
Right.
Come on.
If Virginia played ECU on the field, we don't know who was going to win that game. Could be either one of them scrubs.
I bet you Eastern Carolina. They were 8-3 last year.
So, and while we're on it, we addressed it like back in May when we were doing our Jim Harbaugh show, and I talked about how the whole thing it got brought up somewhere. I think it was on the Bustin' with the Boys, or something about how Michigan's schedule. Oh, it was Dan Katz from Barstool was making fun of Michigan back in the day.
Yes.
Playing like YMCA teams. I'm like, literally everybody in the Midwest. I mean, all college football did that back then. You were barely driving Model Ts at the time. The transportation was ass. I mean, and he's a Wisconsin fan. I'm like, I went on and I looked at the Wisconsin teams they played. I mean, they played doctors and surgeons. They played YMCA. They played a Navy flight school. Like, so those two style of takes are so preschool. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it fires me up because it's like, you can't be that stupid.
It's literally the most, like, we're trying to find reasons to diss Michigan.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I love it because that literally means we're at the top again. Ain't nobody dissing Michigan when they suck. You know what I mean? So I love it. Speaking of at the top again, Texas goes into Bama, lays the smack down. 34-24, they walk away with a W. Quinn Ewers looks very good. Offensive, defensive lines look very good. Is this more Texas? Is this more Bama? A little bit of both? Where are you at on this?
A little bit of both. Now, everyone is all up on the Colorado train. I'm kind of on the train that Alabama and Clemson are starting to lose steam. And I think that they're kind of running out of their momentum. Now, a lot can change, next season or at the end of how this year finishes out. But I think Bama is going to take a step back, and Texas is going to take a step forward. And Quinn Ewers is a Longhorn. He's not a Buckeye, but I bet you Buckeye fans are wishing that he didn't get away.
I think there's a couple of reasons for this. First off, Clemson's a completely different thing. They refuse to get in the portal. They only want to recruit their kids. And at the end of the day, like, they're kind of falling behind. They've been very vocal there that they're against NIL and all that other crap, right? The thing of it is kids are not riding the bench anymore if they're good enough to play. They're going to transfer out and play right away. Dante Moore didn't go to Michigan because UCLA basically told him, you can start today. You know what I mean? That's the new nature of this sport. Is it's becoming the NFL so quick. There's no more waiting game. Rookie quarterbacks used to be drafted and sat. Now they're, freshman kids are walking it off the street and they're getting the snaps right away. And the second thing is like Alabama, they're still drafting well, they're still recruiting well. I still think they're coached well, but you're constantly getting sniped for coordinators. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, but you had a long run of quarterbacks, and all of a sudden you don't have one. That's going to show. I mean, it's going to show quick.
And it's kind of happening at Ohio State so far, right now.
Yeah, no, here's it. I have been reserving my judgment on Ohio State. I've been trying to channel it because I want so bad to call them out. But at the end of the day, they win 35-7. We win 35-7, both against teams that are not supposed to be very good. They might, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. They might just be dialing it back a little bit. Hey, we're not going to blow everybody out 50. We're trying to be more precise, control the line of scrimmage. That could be the game plan. And at the end of the day, they don't have the quarterback this year. So they might have to change the way they're playing things. If they get railroaded by Notre Dame, I don't think that'll be their only loss. I think they would have multiple.
If they lose to Notre Dame, they're in for something.
Right? Yeah, if they lose to Notre Dame, I think they lose to Penn State, Michigan, and potentially some random other team in there too. They just don't have. It doesn't look like they have the firepower. But then again, I'm reserving judgment because this is Ohio State. This is what they've been able to do for years, is just kind of pop off at any given time. So I've tried to not be a hot take artist on them, but Notre Dame, they've been one of my more impressive teams. What they're doing right now looks extremely impressive. They're obviously at this point just waiting out their battle with Ohio State. I think that's all I was going to touch on. Oh, let's talk quickly on this. I want your opinion on here. Number 23, Texas A&M. According to, I forget the website, but you can basically see who has the best talent for like based off star rating and stuff like that. Per this website, there are 3 teams that are projected better than it in Texas A&M as far as roster goes. Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama. Why does Texas A&M suck?
Because I think Jimbo Fisher's a garbage-ass coach.
Was Jameis Winston just carrying him? Because he was pretty good there.
I think I'll channel my inner Shane Schroyer here right now. I think that Jimbo Fisher Florida State team was on the back of Jameis Winston.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean that's totally on the table.
Ever since Jameis Winston left, I mean didn't he leave Texas A&M, didn't do anything, then came back, and he is
Jimbo. Jimbo?
I thought he did. Did he leave and then come back? Or
so
no?
he had like 1 or 2 years after Jameis went at Florida State, and then he left to go to Texas A&M for big money. He's never left.
I'm sorry. My mind's all over the place. I'm getting Florida State and Texas A&M as the same school. I apologize, but no. So he's obviously 2 different schools, right?
Yeah.
I just think that all the resources he's forking out right now, being where Texas A&M, and just it's not panning out. I just think that it's pretty glaring that it was because the quarterback play was a lot better. Maybe a little bit of everything, but I think Jameis Winston had a lot to do with his success there.
Yeah. I don't see this ending well for him. I don't know. He's got Bama, LSU. I think he plays Ole Miss this year. It just doesn't look great. Let's talk a little bit of the big games, and then we'll get to the Michigan preview against Bowling Green. We'll get out of here. Penn State at Illinois. You were right on Illinois. I was way too high on them. Down in the dumps. Barely beat Toledo. Get obliterated by Kansas. Penn State should have no issue going to Champaign, right?
I don't want to say that I'm not going to take Illinois lightly still, but Penn State definitely is going to have like their first real test here, Drew Aller's first road game. So it's something I'm going to keep my eye on for sure because I'm intrigued, but I think they can get it done.
This is super weird, and it's probably not going to be talked about. Alabama is going to South Florida. Really weird. I don't know if you're familiar with South Florida. They play at Raymond James Buck Stadium.
Okay.
They share a stadium, okay? But I just thought that was weird because everybody obviously gives Bama a lot of shit that they don't travel to stadiums out of conference. They're technically doing it. So I wanted to give them their props. Here's a big one. Minnesota sneakily gets to 2-0. They travel to North Carolina. Drake May. I had a parlay money on North Carolina. That one was a little sketch. Where are you at on this one?
I have it on my list to keep my ears open, my eyes and ears open. But they did become very close to losing App State. They had a win in overtime. Minnesota is somehow 2-0. I think North Carolina can pull this off because of Drake May, but Never say never, I guess.
Michigan State going through a lot of shit right now. Washington
Go ahead, sorry. If Minnesota leaves this 3-0, I'll be very shocked.
That's fair. To be fair, though, North Carolina has struggled with both of their first wins.
Yeah.
Both of them have not looked great. Michigan State, kind of a shit show program right now. They're going through some really, really tough stuff. They are 2-0. Number 8 Washington travels to East Lansing, Peacock exclusive. Washington beats Michigan State at home last year. This is a home and home. Washington takes care of business, right?
They're a 16-point favorite as they open up as I don't know, is D'Antonio gonna
dude.
Is he going to revitalize and bring everyone together, or is it not going to matter and there's too much distraction? We'll see.
Listen, we both hate Michigan State. We're totally in agreement that D'Antonio being in the building that's a huge lift for them, right?
Right.
Yeah. Tennessee at Florida. Tennessee could beat Michigan per Jack. Are they beating Florida?
Yeah, because Florida sucks.
And then, yeah, that's the majority. Let's get here though. Bowling Green 1-1 on the year. They travel to Michigan. Michigan's favored by 40.5, which is again a large spread they haven't really covered yet. Bowling Green lost to Liberty week 1, and then they took care of EIU, whoever the hell that is.
Eastern Illinois.
Eastern Illinois. Okay.
Yeah.
Where are you at on this one? What does Michigan got to do? Neither of us think they're going to lose this game. What are we doing here?
Get in, get out. Do what you've been doing, but a little bit better. Obviously, you want to see improvement. So I'm assuming the same type of game plan is going to be implemented. Stay balanced. Try to get as many guys experience as possible. Again, we're supposed to see Alex Orji and more Donegal this weekend in the second half if possible. Not sure about Rod Moore if he's going to be healthy enough to play. Will Johnson played this past weekend. Bakari Page got a little more action too. So keep an eye on those guys. Sherrone Moore is the head coach in this game, and Jack Harbaugh is supposed to be the associate head coach. Blah blah blah. Whatever. This is the game I'm really hoping that they can force more turnovers. Connor Bazelak, the quarterback for BG, formerly at Indiana, previously at Missouri, threw 3 picks last week. Their backup Camden Orr threw 2. So that's good news for us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just more of the same. Like I alluded to earlier, just want to see some freshmen make a name for themselves. But stay healthy. Guys that are coming off an injury, don't use them if you don't have to. But I'm thinking 40-7 is reasonable. But, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that Michigan continues to kind of stat pad, get in, get out, and like you said, get some of these other quarterbacks some time, but at the same time, build on these Heisman campaigns, get some touchdowns. Wouldn't mind seeing Cornelius Johnson get in the end zone. Colson Loveland, a little bit more involvement. I wouldn't mind seeing out of him, but ultimately make it exciting and get that dub. So 30 points, 35. I'd like to see him hit the 40-something mark. 48-6 would be nice. That's where I'm at. That would cover, get you enough points. They score a couple times, field goals. So, well, anything else from you, sir?
No, just that this Friday, Ann Arbor Saline quarterback CJ Carr committed to Notre Dame, 5-star guy, is going to be playing my Bedford Kicking Mules. So if my kids are behaving, I'm going to take them over to the stadium and possibly watch a future Notre Dame quarterback pair up the Kicking Mules, because last week Bedford played at Dexter and got blown out 44-0. So we'll see how they do on defense versus a 5-star quarterback. But I'm probably going to be keeping my eye on that if I don't go to it. But trying to go to it anyway, but other than that, man, I'm good. The whole Mel Tucker thing is definitely interesting. He just like the Pat Fitzgerald thing is like when Pat Fitzgerald hired his attorney and fired back and showed his side of the story. It's like, man, I want to believe what he's saying, but then you have all this evidence against him. And then with this Mel Tucker thing is like she drops all this on him now, and it's like he comes out with his attorney and his statement. It's like I kind of want to believe Mel Tucker. Sounds confident, right? The way he's wording his sentences and says he's got receipts. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen here, but drama ensues in the Big Ten. I tell you.
My biggest thing when these kind of stories get out, and I don't like to form an opinion, but essentially, if he has any sort of evidence that she was into it for even a minute, I think bygones be bygones, go your separate ways. Mm-hmm. If it's 100% her saying, okay, let's move on, stop it, I'm not interested, and he keeps going, then you're at fault. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm not saying that just because she said yes once doesn't mean she says yes 100 times. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, it doesn't sound like he actually did anything physical, right? This is all just verbal, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, allegedly. So we'll see. I don't know. Not a huge fan of Mel Tucker or Michigan State, so I don't really care how this goes down. I just hope that whoever's innocent is innocent and whoever's guilty is guilty, and if that's neither, then it's neither. So, all right, my man, we'll get out of here on a Tuesday night. Can't wait for more Michigan football, and I'll see you next time.
Go Blue.
Go Blue.